Hey, and welcome to Crippled System Battle Report 10. I'm here. This is Andy. And over to my left, I have wonderful
Troll Jeff.
That works. And over to my right, I have
Nathan.
And we have a wonderful battle here of Convergence versus Trollbloods.
Yeah. Ooh, look at me. You can see up on the top right, I'm using War Room.
Ooh,
Somebody's
sexy.
fancy.
Fancy schmancy. I don't mind War Room. At least the version of War Room that I have, I don't mind at all. I actually used it yesterday for an entire 4-round tournament, so it went 8 hours. Used it the whole time, no problems. Battery still had double-digit power left at the end of the day.
Now, is that actually
but you didn't do
Apple
versus.
product one, or is that one of the other brands that you're using it on?
It's Kindle Fire.
Okay, and it still works well on that?
Yes.
Good.
Yeah, no, I like it.
I mean, I've been contemplating picking it up, but I don't buy much Apple product, so
Yeah.
I was always worried. It's like, I'm going to shell out $70 and have a funny-looking program that doesn't do anything.
I wouldn't get it on a phone because it's much more difficult only seeing one card face at a time. On tablets, you can, because of the wider tablet screen and because of the larger interface, you can see both sides of a standard card, which is really handy. Have it all on one view. But I mean, I like it fine.
Okay. I suppose we should probably talk about the battle report, though, huh?
Hypothetically,
What kind of armies you guys are playing?
I'm running a P Grissel list with a full unit of champions and Scaldi, a full unit of warders. You can see the battle wagon floating right down there in the lower left. Krellstone, and then I'm futzing around with the Night Troll. Now, obviously, against this matchup, it won't do much. In particular, it would be much better as a Swamp Troll, but I'm trying to keep my lists general and not bring them to the point of, I know my opponent is going to have non-living models.
I have living models. I have 2 Arc Nodes and 3 Mechanics.
And the times I need to paralyze those or enthrall those, I will let you know.
Okay. That'll be handy, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So what other stuff do you have on the list? It looks like you're moving some champions over there with
Yep.
Scaldi.
Yep. Well, actually, I use most of the list. I guess the only thing I know is you can kind of see that Storm Troll hiding behind the building there.
Yeah.
And then there's a Mauler just kind of rolling up in the middle. Obviously, there's a Krellstone because champions and warders love that thing. And that's about the whole list. Those are all mostly pricey figures. Points-wise, at least.
I'm babbling and pointing at something for some reason. I'm gesturing. I have no clue what the hell I was just gesturing about. Something about Moses parting the Red Sea and then slamming forward. Now I'm pointing at the camera. I wish I could remember our conversation because I'm very animated at this point in time.
Yeah. I think that you're upset that you're being recorded and that you're afraid this is going to get out to all your friends and family.
Yeah, that's true. If anybody knows me, it's super shy. I'm probably just recapping what Convergence models do. And
That could be the case. I think I've only played Convergence when you fielded them, and that would be a massive total of twice.
Yeah, but on the bright side, it's probably against almost this exact same list because I've been playing almost exclusively Syntherion for the last couple months.
Not true. The couple times I've played you didn't have access to the Prime Axiom at that point.
Oh, wow. That was a while ago then.
Yeah.
Well, then, speaking of which, then my list it's a Syntherion. It is tier 4. I am doing 1 proxy. You can see, the coins that are my focus. There's the big stack on the left for my caster, and then there's one on the right next to what's basically a cardboard cutout because that is a foam board laminate mounted printout of a picture of a corollary. So that's my proxied corollary. So that's Syntherion tier 4. I have Primaxium, Cipher, Monitor, Diffuser, Mitigator, Corollary, Free Galvanizer, 2 units of the Reflex Servitors, a unit of the Attunement Servitors, 2 Arc Node Dudes, and 1 unit of Mechanics. I think that's everything. Did I mention the Primaxium, Monitor, Cipher? I don't know.
Thinking about
Shitload of jacks.
Thinking about this, it would have been kind of neat, but I don't think Privateer would have liked it. It would have been neat to have a camera specifically on your war room. And then I could superimpose it down on the bottom right-hand side. But I think Privateer doesn't like that.
There was actually a thread specifically about what graphics were allowed to use. None of the Crippled System people made it, but it was interesting to see because it was good information. But somebody started for video battle reports asking what kind of graphics we could use. And basically the answer was that we could use we can't use their graphics. But the big example they had is like if we wanted to show the damage grid for something, we can show a 6x6 grid with the damage marked off, but it can't be literally a scan or photocopy from their card. You'd have to just quick whip up. It would be the exact same thing because it's a 6x6 grid of squares, but you couldn't just photocopy the one from a behemoth card and use it.
It's an Excel spreadsheet. It looks exactly like a grid. That's fine, but their image is copyrighted.
Yeah. Privateer Press is nice, and they want people to be able to, do stuff like this, but they also have to protect their IP.
Yep.
And somewhat validly, as opposed to suing people who use the word saga or candy.
Oh, you're real bitter about that.
It's fucking ridiculous.
They're not the only company that does stupid stuff like that, though.
No, and I'd hate those companies, too.
Like Todd McFarlane's made his living over the past, 8 years suing people who've messed around with Spawn.
Yeah.
And in a vague sense of messed around with Spawn.
I'm going to call it a Spawn.
Yes.
Have you ever seen his videos from the HBO series? Every time he pops out there at the beginning giving his little intro, he's like, I'm Todd McFarlane. I'm cut out of Spawn.
And if you're going to defend somebody's actions by saying Todd McFarlane did it, you're not doing a good job. Anyway, I'm casting an ass ton of spells because Theme Force lets them be cheaper. So you can actually cast all 3 non-offensive upkeeps for 4 focus. So it's super dirt cheap. So I put Reconstruct on the Cypher and Hotshot on the Prime Axiom, if I'm recalling correctly. Hotshot I usually put on the Cypher for obvious reasons. Hotshot at POW 6 Blast is really good. But you're fielding champions, and then some beasts and some champion solos, and then more things with multiple wounds. So Hotshot on POW 6 Blast seemed kind of ridiculous.
Unless you're going to scatter that into the Krell unit, that's not going to do anything.
But they're 50 miles away, and the flip side is that Hotshot on 6 Excella Spiker shots can really put the hurt on a beast.
Yeah, or just about anything in that list.
Yeah, I mean POW 11s.
Boosted POW 11s.
Boosted POW 11s, exactly. It's like the boosted POW 12s kill caster things.
Yeah,
these are boosted POW 11s, and I get 6 of them for 1 focus. That's not
because without boosted, this list actually shakes off most of that kind of damage. On the champions, most of the time you're looking at dice -9, and on the warders you're looking at dice -6 in the first shot, -9 in the second if they didn't get stuck in the Krellstone. So you have to make sure that your ranged firepower is very potent and precise. Well, I shouldn't say precise defense 12, but
After a quick interview with Jeff to verify that he did not have Rush, I put my Prime Axiom there.
Yeah, I didn't have a lot of stretch to this list. A lot of it's supposed to be where I just kind of run up in your grill, you can't kill me that first turn, and I just push my way through the rest of your list.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And in theory, that the battle wagons in the list to take care of any massed infantry swarms or high defense troopers that would otherwise give the list trouble that the Storm Patrol couldn't take care of, which Nate's list is obviously pretty devoid of.
Yeah, I mean, you got the Nitro. Yeah, I don't have a lot of the things that you want me to have, unfortunately for you. We talked about this for a while, during the start of the game, and this matchup was definitely in my favor.
Yeah, it's a list that I want to try and playtest some more, and I'll probably field it again. But just in hindsight, not the best choice to make going up against Cyriss in particular, or more importantly, this specific kind of Cyriss list. If you had a lot of the infantry, or you're running a bit more of a Numar or an Axis, then
yeah. The Axis small base swarm, I've got that list with 70 infantry models in it. You'd do a good job of dealing with those guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Between Grissel's call to give her extra attacks on the Storm Troll, the Champions of the Warders can annihilate a unit and a half without really breaking a sweat.
Right. And even though, assuming you don't kill them, the Enigma Foundries are bringing back a dozen of those guys a turn. If you're killing 20 of them a turn, I'm still falling behind.
Yeah. And there's just enough reach and push, especially with that battle wagon there, to kind of threaten some of that stuff. Because I can do some pretty nasty stunts with the battle wagon that a lot of people don't realize the thing is capable of.
Yeah, that might come up in this game.
Fair enough. Routinely I do stuff with the battle wagon. People are going wait, what? It's a cavalry model. It's got all the cavalry rules. It does this.
Yeah, ride by attacks. What do you know?
Yep. I'll definitely say though that Todd McFarlane is a very overrated artist.
He came up with one really awesome intellectual property and has been riding that thing like nobody's business.
Well, he took capes are cool. Like capes are super cool and dark and broody. Like took all these things and then he just dials them up to 13 on a scale of 1 to 10, and that's his shtick.
How many actual muscles does one arm have?
114.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Todd McFarlane is still better than Rob Liefeld. Because although an arm might not have 114 muscles, the average person's outfit doesn't have 783 pouches.
Yeah, but you never know when you might need something, and you have a pouch for it.
It's still kind of better than Batman's utility belt, where there's like 12 compartments, but no matter what, he has what he needs in one of those compartments.
I saw a diagram of how Batman's utility belt actually works. There's an X-ray. It literally just has a claw in the back that reaches and pulls whatever he needs out of his ass. That's the entire belt. It just pulls it right out of his ass.
Yeah,
that would probably be the best approximation of how that thing works.
Yeah.
You can see like pop out, like, oh, there's a chunk of kryptonite the size of a gold ingot, and like, how'd that fit in the belt in the first place? Like,
and it's amazing how much kryptonite there is on Earth.
Yeah, right.
In the DC mythos. Like, it
was a very funnel-shaped explosion. It just kind of shot it all straight at Earth.
Yeah.
Think of how many planets have exploded, or how many stars and such have exploded in the years. Millions and billions of years. And how much of it has actually hit Earth. In massive quantities to cause, horrible things to one person.
So like every random hillbilly has some in their backyard.
That's some kryptonite.
That would explain all the cancer on Earth, right? Because of all the radioactive Krypton planet.
It's all Krypton. Oh, damn it.
Superman's fault.
Yeah.
Damn it, Superman. Well,
I'm not going to defend Rob Liefeld.
Yes, you are.
You're
obviously about to do it.
What I'm about to say. But at least Rob Liefeld is still drawing. I mean, Todd McFarlane...
Wait, is that a good thing? That's like saying, I'm not going to defend the BDK killer, but at least he's still murdering people. Like, there's a point where when you keep doing a horrible thing, that's not a defense.
All of his artwork is not bad. He has some gems that pop out that actually are pretty cool. But overall, I mean... Like, his cover art is usually pretty decent. And that's stuff that you actually take time on, but his internal stuff is usually pretty fucking horrible.
He can't draw feet.
My favorite picture ever of Rob Liefeld is a shot of Captain America in his chest. The one, like, his left pec is like 4 feet from his body.
Yeah. There's somebody edited that. They did a drawing
did a skeleton?
where it was not skeleton, it was nude. They did a nude. They just took the clothes off and drew the muscle structure, and it's astounding. Well, also his hands only reach down to like his waist, and they're like 3 feet thick biceps, and like that picture is grotesque.
Yeah, I don't know. I
at Gen Con one year. He was there like as a guest speaker or whatever. Oh, sorry, stuff's happening. At the game.
So basically, what happened here is I advanced my war wagon up with a ride-by attack to attack his dug-in little explodo mine.
But I was going to countercharge.
Except that I was doing it as a ride-by, so my movement wasn't done.
Bullshit.
So yeah, there's no countercharge going on there. But I didn't exactly accomplish what I was hoping to over there. I needed some not outstanding dice, but not bad dice.
15, 14, those little guys are really survivable as long as you keep them base to base with a jack. It's when you move them out to arc that then they just die instantly. So they're functionally equivalent to spell martyrs in that you get one arc through them and then they die, but they don't do it themselves.
And I can't even know what
they are 1 point. Yeah, so they're cheap.
Well, I mean, they're worth a point. If there were two, they wouldn't be viable.
Yeah. Depending on the range of the spell, sometimes you can arc and stay base to base to a jack, but I never want to risk eyeballing that, so I always just run them out to like a quarter of an inch away from my target.
I'd be concerned at that point in time, at the point when you really want to be arcing something, that you wouldn't want to be base context, that's going to restrict your movement pretty heavily.
Well, like, so that Cypher could hypothetically move up to do his thing, and then the arc node could walk up to get base to base with it, and then I could arc spells through it, and it would have the base to base protection, but it's just... Oh, now you finished your move. So
I wasn't able to clear out. What I was hoping to do is to crush the mine with the melee attack, spray the other one to death, and just cause a little disruption with the AoE. And none of that happened.
Yeah, you rolled double ones on the spray against the dug-in one, unfortunately for you. But
I mean, it needed a 7, like I said.
Yeah.
Not bad dice, but not stellar. It was not an unreasonable maneuver.
Hey, but end result's the same because he died on his countercharge and didn't hurt you. So
yeah,
we can pretend you hit with the spray.
Yes, except for there's still that one mine that's in base contact with the war wagon there.
That won't be an issue.
No. I mean, it's still a power 14 waiting to happen.
But Rob Liefeld was a guest, and so his table was all set up, like where he was going to be. And several hours before he was going to be there, somebody had put a jar there, like a Jerry's Kid jar that was labeled "Send Rob Liefeld to art school," and nobody like took it down. Like nobody who was involved noticed it, and it had like $30 in it by the time somebody caught onto it.
Tragic.
Hilarious.
All right, so all I'm doing here is I'm moving up my warders, and I do something stupid because I was trying to get rid of that mine a little bit, and what I was planning on doing at this point in time was actually moving up the Storm Troll, putting his Animus on the frontmost warder, and just shooting him in the back to arc lightning into basically 2 of his mines, and who cares what else.
Sure.
But being an idiot, I put a warder closer to the first warder than the mine, so arcing lightning would have just murdered my own guys instead.
That's what you were sad about.
Yes.
I didn't know. This is the first time I figured out, because you did that, and I was like, oh gosh, darn it, I messed up. And I had no idea what you had messed up.
No, I love using the Storm Troll to zap my own guys, because you can usually except when you're playing like this, position to the point where you can arc lightning through a friendly model that you're not hurting because of the Animus into a whole bunch of otherwise hard to get at targets.
Right.
Because those little buggers are what, defense 16 when they're dug in against ranged?
Yeah, because they're 12-13's natural.
And obviously blasts aren't going to hurt them, so being able to get 2 power 10s in them would just basically annihilate them and solve a couple of problems.
Countercharge time.
Yep.
That's the thing with a lot of people with any kind of chain lightning is usually arcing it through your own models. It works out better than trying to hit your opponent's models.
Yeah.
Because those auto hit, I mean, they're only POW 10s generally, but yeah, they get shit done.
Well, here's the that's part of that Storm Troll. The Storm Troll on the range shot can boost those 10s.
Yes, true. Very true. I think it's one of the few models that could do that other than a caster.
Speaking of 10s, that's what you need to roll with a countercharging reflex servitor to one-shot a champion. And that just happened.
Yeah, I was not quite expecting that. Usually the champions, like, I was expecting to take some hurt, but, you know, not just to pick up your model. Yeah.
I wasn't expecting that either, which is why I was going to countercharge with 2 guys.
Do it again?
Well, I mean, there's no reason not to. Otherwise, the mines are kind of pointless.
Right. Well, I like to, depending on where stuff's moving into, sometimes it's better to not countercharge and then just do a normal charge on your own turn, because by then stuff might be more clustered up so the blast damage can do more. Against champs, that's obviously completely irrelevant, so there's no reason not to countercharge. But with like single wound armor, like 14, 15 infantry, if people move 1 up, you just go, and countercharge. But if you just wait and let like 4 or 5 move up, even if the last ones are too far back to trigger countercharge, on your own turn you can just charge into the middle of that group.
Quick question. Couldn't you, when you countercharged with yours, couldn't you have countercharged with Scaldi, kill it before your attack?
If he was within range, yes, he could. Yeah.
I think he could have, because Scaldi was
I don't
just
think
on
I
the
was
hill.
within 6.
Oh, but that would have been funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It could be. I don't know. Like I actually haven't fielded champions very much. Back when champions were like the only way to play, I immediately like resented that and didn't use them.
That was their only unit really available to them, other than Creel Warriors.
Well, that was a Mark 1 hangback when no one could think outside the box and figure out, wait, I just need to put hard-hitting hits into them instead of the same thing I used to kill the opponent's infantry.
Right.
Yeah, that was, honestly, to me, in my opinion, that was really when trolls were really limited by their choices, because they had very few casters, and they had, champions back then were actually really good.
Concert was an amazing ability.
Yeah. Concert was good.
For those who didn't play Mark 1, Concert was basically the unit had synergy.
Yes.
Yep.
So, like, if you had the full unit of 5, the last guy swinging was at +4/+4.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which gets real nasty on those, power. I think they were 12 back in the day, so it goes to 2 power 16 weapons with a mat of like 11.
A lot.
Assuming a Fellcaller didn't help them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So all that's going on there is the Mauler moved up, put Rage on Scaldi, so to kind of threaten any heavy jacks that move up to do anything.
Yeah. A Rage Scaldi countercharging is scary.
I mean, it's only a power 14 weapon master. I mean,
oh, that's nothing. I mean, it only does 10 damage to the average jack on the other person's turn.
Yeah. Nobody ever likes that, and so here's me kind of fumbling around figuring out what in the world to actually do. At this point I'm trying vainly to hit that mine with the Storm Troll. Didn't expect much of it.
Sure. Yeah.
Well, Rat 4 doesn't go a long way.
Needed a 12, so...
Like, I understand why the Pirate Troll's Rat 4, but I really, really wish that the Winter Troll and the Storm were 5s.
Right, because the Pirate Troll does good work on Adrift.
Yeah.
So game balance wise, it would make sense for the other ones to get an extra point because they're not as ridiculous even when they miss. But I guess they just made the elemental trolls all universally stat wise.
Well, they kept the standard Trollblood stat line unless it's and I don't know why, but the Impaler and the Swamp specifically are 5s for the rat, and no other of the ranged Trollblood lights are. Oh, sorry, it's Slag. I forgot the Slag, but he's also more expensive.
And yeah, he should not cost 6 points. He's good. I like the Slag, but I don't think he's worth 6.
He's worth 6. The problem is the Pyre Troll exists, and most of the time that beast is used as a walking buff and a little bit of ranged support.
Yeah. Well,
If the Slag Troll had a distinctly different animus, it might actually see more play.
Yeah, I mean, his gun can be more useful, as an actual weapon against War Machine and things like that. But and isn't he rate of fire 2? Yeah, he's rate of fire 2.
So like you get a good shot on a heavy, that Slag's going to wipe out half its grid. But that's unfortunately it's a little bit corner case, like a handful of Trollbloods models end up being.
Right. And it's hard to put corner case things into an all-comers list.
Yeah.
If you knew you were facing War Machine, you knew you were facing like Convergence or whatever, you'd put a Slag Troll in there
absolutely.
And dance a little jig.
Like this exact same list, like that Mauler would probably be a Slag Troll if I knew specifically I was fighting Convergence.
I think you'd find it easier to fit him into your all-comers list if he was a point cheaper too.
Oh, I mean, that's true. And then, like I said, then he's not competing directly with the Pyre Troll, who's a point cheaper, still works on the drift, and has... His animus is, I will say, better than the Slags just because immunity to fire is much better than immunity to corrosion.
Sure. Unless you spam it 10 times on a unit that's in front of Bile Thralls.
I haven't quite done it 10 times. I have gotten 3 castings off in front of a unit of Bile Thralls on important figures I did not want to melt.
There you go.
The opponent was not happy about that, but...
Well, he's a Crix player. I don't care if he's happy.
Well, one of those models was my caster, who just kind of slauntered up there into next to a unit of Bile Thralls and went, I don't care if you all pop on me.
Nice.
So, yeah, I'm dirtling about trying to figure out what I'm supposed to do, and you're going to watch me make a heinous mistake real promptly towards the end of the turn. That's me just throwing out lightning fists on my models in case you decide to provoke free strikes.
Yeah, Grissel doesn't have much of a spell list to cast other more useful things when you have excess fury.
No, she's especially early in the game, her spell list is essentially empty.
Yeah.
Like
Calamity is a good spell when you get close enough to cast it, but obviously...
Yeah, and then Hallowed Avenger this is one of the tricks I've been wanting to try with the Night Troll, is Hallowed Avenger on the Night Troll actually has some potential to be really disruptive against a more living army than Cyriss.
Sure. Because you'll get to move around with that Beguile aura.
Basically, yeah. Is your opponent kills something the wrong way, I blitz in there with the Night Troll to get the aura on models that weren't originally affected,
right.
And now they have to kill my 4-point beast instead of maybe going into my 9-point Mauler or diving into my unit of champions.
Sure.
Well, I got Peach, I got Peach, okay. I got Black Cherry and normal.
Peach.
Son of a bitch, you guys are going to run me out of my peaches.
I'll take a Black Cherry then. This is Peach.
Pro tip, right. Peach is a good soda flavor.
It is. So this is the horrible mistake I was talking about, where I hoofed it and just moved my champions up to the Prime Axiom to just... The thought at the time was to just kind of keep him back there and maybe stop Nate from just walking up to that objective marker.
Flag, actually.
Flag, right. But in hindsight, I should have read the Senario rules a little bit more closely, and that flag is not so impressive.
Remember our previous conversation that it takes a 10 for a countercharging reflex servitor to one-shot a champion?
Yeah, that's basically it. He toughs, but he still gets blasted to bits by a single servitor countercharge.
Yeah.
What scenario are you guys playing, though?
Into the Breach.
Okay, I was going to say, I didn't think we talked about that, but...
It's got a zone and a flag.
Zone and a flag. Into the Breach is one of the scenarios that requires 3 scorings to win. Those are in the minority, but it is one of them.
Yeah, and the fortunate part about this list, and combined with the unfortunate part, though, is it's also very hard to remove from zones or areas. It's just a lot of meat that doesn't want to die. Yeah, so this is me getting my champs up, putting Scaldy back there, hoping to get a good countercharge and me forgetting that certain Cyriss models exist.
But yeah, no, we talked about it after the game, and your thought, like you said at the time, was to kind of jam in and hold my Primaxium back. But all he was going to do on my turn, if it was his use was going to be to kill all the champions. And if that was coming into you to kill him there, at least then he's closer to your Mauler and stuff like that, so that you can punish me for coming up. Throw Flaming Fists or Lightning Tendrils or Rage or whatever onto him, and maybe kill my Primaxium, and then you're way up on attrition. But your Mauler is too far back to avenge them.
Yeah.
So if hypothetically I kill them here instead of 4 inches forward, I am not punished for it.
Yeah, and I mean, it's all I can say. It was a bad move. Simple as that.
You like being punished.
Is that Jeremy's fetish?
No, it's not. No, I think all three of us know what it is.
I don't, but maybe I don't want to know.
I'm not going to tell you.
Okay.
But
it's like a Where's Waldo's hunt to find Jeremy's fetish, like going through the old podcast, like, here it is.
No, it's been going on for the past 4 months?
For a while.
4 or 5 months?
Jeremy's big into ranch dressing on feet. Who knew?
Wait, I thought you said you didn't know.
Oh,
Yeah.
my bad.
Seriously.
Let it slip.
It's got to be specifically
That's
ranch.
also
Thousand
his
Island
tip.
will not cut it.
Letting it slip is also his fetish.
Gross.
Again, with me being out, look how big my gut is. Oh my goodness. This is depressing. This video is like an intervention.
I'm expecting to break through the wall and go, oh yeah. Sorry.
I'll kill you later.
Anybody who wears a red shirt, that's immediately what I think of. It's kinda, I'm a little portly. That I don't wear red shirts.
I have a very good friend. He was the best man at my first wedding, who is a portlier guy. He's actually lost a lot of weight recently, but he's, gamer physique build. Yeah. And he had a t-shirt in high school that was literally, the front of it was just a head-on shot of a Mack truck. And I'm like, oh my God, Scott, you are just like, I can't not just pretend to be terrified and run away from your massive Mack truck girl. Like, it's life size. Like, the jokes are there. I'm going to finish allocating focus eventually. Man, this is the thing with Cyriss, is thinking backwards when you allocate. It's like, I want 3 to be on the Primaxium, so I need to allocate 0 to it. It's really weird sometimes. Although more and more I've stopped using that as much, or at least I'll put 1 on it and like 2 around, because I've found myself doing things like, I'll end up putting focus on 3 jacks around it, and I'm used to redundancy. Like, there's a model I want to kill, and so you're going to shoot it with this guy and shoot it with this guy. And so if I shoot it with the first guy and I boost a hit and then I kill him, then my other jack who's sitting on a focus that I need to get to the Primaxium has no way to spend it because its target is dead.
You could run it.
I mean, I could run it or something like that,
Yeah,
but a lot of times, especially like this is if I'm trying to build up a synergy chain, and so I'm looking for melee attacks and stuff like that.
Well, I think Syntherion makes that problem worse because of how he works. But with a lot of other casters, it's still a concern. It's just not as magnified because you're not worried about the synergy chain on top of allocating.
Right. I rotated my corollary so everybody could see the picture.
I made him do that.
Yeah, so this is just Nate setting up to annihilate me.
Never.
No, never. Now, you played very well this game. You took a bad matchup and just crushed me.
Spoiler.
Yeah. Well, fine.
Well, what I phrased that when we were playing the game is that, again, we talked about the matchup, and I said this was my game to fuck up. Like it was probably like an 80-20 for me, but never underestimate my ability to squander that and just deliver my caster and give you that 20%. And so, oddly enough, because it was a better matchup for me, I played a lot more carefully and methodically, which is what I should do when I'm down the 20-80 as well.
Yeah. Like just because you can't get that mindset of like, well, I'm gonna lose, so I've gotta, so I'll just throw the game away.
And I couldn't afford to let that 20% grow to a 50 or, God forbid, a 60% chance for you.
Yeah.
And so I was very careful.
Well, and we're recording this after the tournament that we just finished up yesterday, and on my last match, like that almost happened. I got stuck in a bad matchup. Neither of my lists were built to work it, and I almost pulled out a win.
Yeah,
like I literally had the caster down at 4 health, and if I would have gotten a 12 on 3 dice, I would have won the game. So it really does pay to make sure that you don't fall into that, like, well, I've lost the match, so I'm just going to try to get it over with.
Sure, right. And you in general, in my opinion, are one of the more. You're a good player. You're one of the more methodical players, I think, in general. You've made a couple mistakes you pointed on this one, so I mean, maybe it was just a space game, but you're also good at there's things I expect to not perform well, or things I expect to just be mediocre, and one of your skills is that you're good at making those things shine a little better. You're kind of like the more well-known person like that is Chuck is famous for bringing stuff to tournaments that people have written off and doing well with it. And so you bring stuff like the Battle Wagon or Scattergunners. I mean, you've got your Scaldy or not Scaldy, your Jarl list with 2 units of Scattergunners. And
that list performs marvelous.
That list is amazing. I mean, Scattergunners have really come into their own ever since the UA because they have Clear or whatever. But
Clear
even
fixed
still,
the unit real fast.
Even still, yeah. I mean, so you're always an interesting opponent because your lists are different than what I'm used to seeing, and so it helps a lot.
Yeah, well, we had a discussion about this during the tournament yesterday as well. We feel a lot of the Trollblood stagnation is just from people falling into this very distinct mindset of this is how you play trolls, and if you're doing anything else, it is wrong.
Yeah. There's a lot of proponents that they basically tell you that you're not playing trolls right.
Right.
I guess one of the big things that all troll players seem to end up going is like, I got to play Runes of War. That's not necessary.
And you know what? I've never I have fielded that list, but not as it was intended.
Right.
Yeah. I like it a lot, but I mean, there's so many other awesome lists. I mean, like my Jarl list, which is consistent of Jarl and a whole bunch of mercenaries and minions, works out pretty good, and it's definitely not a troll list.
Quick check-in, my Prime Axiom activated and murdered a whole bunch of trolls.
Yep.
A champion. So, like we said, that was...
Yeah,
that was what he was going to do this turn.
I think at that point in time, had you activated your mitigator yet? Because that was the thing I had forgotten about. Because
I don't believe so.
Okay, you'll see some mitigator action, which is
it the top right?
No, I think because you can see 2 lights. Oh no, that's a galvanizer. I don't know where the
mitigator was up towards the top end of the table.
He's probably blocked by the Prime Axiom.
He's the one who shot Scaldy in that.
He didn't shoot Scaldy. He shot the other champion. But
he must have, because the first thing I did before the Prime Axiom activated was put knockdown tokens on Scaldy and the champ there.
Yeah.
So the mitigator went
and
up.
And that was the thing I forgot.
And
in hindsight, like if I was on your side of the table, I would have done the exact same thing.
Yeah, that's right.
Spot.
The very first thing I did was shoot the closer champ to knock down Scaldy. Yes, indeed. No counter charge for you.
Yes, exactly.
Here's me thinking I'm clever. Now your Battle Wagon is
locked in the spot because there's 2 of those little exploding mines like right in front of it, so I can't just waltz into the zone.
Yes. Because that means you totally can't get into the zone forever and ever. Amen.
Well, I'd have to run and not get my activation and all that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah, that's true, said stupid Nathan. So, that'll happen.
Hey, those can trample.
What? I don't know what a trample is. Obviously, because...
Well, to be fair, most bases that size, when they even try to trample, don't get the distance to go over anything. Right? They're just it takes almost 5 inches of movement to get to the front of your base, which is so you're going to basically move over the things just barely in front of it and look like an idiot because you stepped on 2 guys and that was it.
Usually have a trouble. Like if Nathan tried to trample with his Prime Axiom, he probably wouldn't be able to find a place to park it.
Right.
It's finding the place to park it at the end and have it affect something.
So, I think I just flared. I'm a little concerned about the zone because there's that wall there. Neither of us likes the wall because you don't have Pathfinder on a stick. I don't think you had a Fell Collar in this list.
No, there's no Fell. Well, because it conflicts really heavily with what P. Grissel does.
But the thing is I don't have anything reach down there. I've just got the Cypher, but because of that wall, there's not really a lot of opportunity for him to get delivered to those warders. So I don't have much of a way to try to kill all those guys. And I worry if the Cypher goes up and kills 1 or 2, then you spam Lightning Fists and those warders wipe out a heavy, and then that zone becomes yours. So I was a little worried about this zone. But then I didn't have to worry because that's an arc node. You have no upkeep removal, and there's a speed debuff spell on Syntherion's card. Clart. That L doesn't belong there. Yeah,
this is one of those lists that once the Sorcerer's out, I think the Krell, I don't remember how many models are in the stone, but I think I'd cut something out of that stone to get a caster up specifically on either the Warders or the Champions.
Yeah, because the Cypher, that corpse token on the guy next to the building, I put out a Flare AoE, and then after that hit, I then put a Rough Terrain AoE over to the right to really screw with that unit.
That kind of confused me, actually, because like after you dropped that AoE, you laid into some of the guys.
Yeah, there was nothing better for his second thing. The Flare AoE got you, and I knew that was the -2 defense to make sure that Magnetic Hold got onto you, which I'm only looking for 6s, and I'm boosting anyway, but I'd rather look for 4s and boost. And then so the second AoE was going to be another Flare if the first one drifted off of you, but since it didn't, I just threw out Rough Terrain, because there's never anything bad about putting Rough Terrain in front of an army without a lot of Pathfinder.
Yeah, except that on that particular unit, they get Pathfinder when you hurt them.
Shut up.
Yeah, like if you actually look at the list, it's fairly carefully constructed that there's a lot of Pathfinder hidden in it without that Fell Caller. Because with Scaldi, the champs have Relentless Assault or Relentless Charge, which it is, but Pathfinder on the charge.
Yep.
The Battle Wagon's Pathfinder all day, every day. Those Warders get Pathfinder when you hurt any one of them. So there is Pathfinder in the army, even though none of the models have it as a base, ability.
Yesterday, I was playing against a troll player, and the middle of the field there was hills and walls and stuff like that. There were no forests or rough terrain actually on the board. Which was interesting, but there's a lot of like linear obstacles and stuff like that and whatever. And I shot a rough terrain AoE at a unit, and I missed, and it drifted directly on top of his Earthborn, and I went, oh. So that's the reason to not blindly throw out rough terrain AoEs.
Yeah. The Earthborn loves that kind of nonsense. So.
Merry Christmas. Enjoy your +2 speed on your heavy.
Yeah. As fantastic as the Earthborn is, I really wish there were other alternatives for melee heavies and trolls, because it's either a character beast, the Mauler, or that Earthborn.
Yeah, I agree.
What trolls really need is a non-character reach heavy.
Yeah, and the reach would be nice, but I even past that point, I just want more diversity in the heavies.
I want a Dire Troll bouncer.
I wish the bouncer was Mat 6
with a chain weapon and a shield.
That would be absolutely fantastic and probably broken.
Just make him. He's a Dire Troll Templar.
I don't know. Having access to a chain weapon on a heavy with access to rage or flaming fists might be a little ridiculous. In the same faction can also rush it or has
but I mean, look how many other factions got so many really really crazy heavies, and trolls really. I mean,
trolls have the least number of heavies out of any faction in the game, minus the new ones like Cyriss,
which is odd considering you kind of think that trolls would have the most heavies. At least in my opinion.
Trolls have Earthborn, Mauler, Blitzer, Mulg, and Rock? Is that it?
Bomber.
Oh, and Bomber.
Yes,
okay.
But that's 6.
That's 6, which Convergence in a month will also have 6.
You're right. So, and of those 6, 2 of which are characters. So there's really 4 non-character heavies.
Yep. So the last thing I did is I ran a couple of Reflex Servitors back up into that hill. I like running them around into people's backfields to threaten support things, because that can be really, really obnoxious. Especially I've had good luck doing that to stuff like the Choir.
Yeah, but the Choir aren't Trollbloods, so.
That is true.
Choir just as easy to hit, but not as easy to kill. Or I mean, Trollbloods are not as easy to kill.
The especially in this case, like those Stone Scribes actually have decent combat stats. Mat 5, Power 11.
Yep.
12 if the stone's pumping strength out. And you can't brush that off.
No.
Yeah. They are not the worst last-ditch unit to have on the board after everything else has died. They can start getting some work done.
Yeah, and
especially with like Epic Madrak, and he puts Blood Fury on that.
Weapon Masters.
POW 12 Weapon Masters? What?
Yeah.
They're Bane Thralls at that point.
Yeah. That is one thing that I've never been good at, as I'm terrible at using my stone for much more than armor. I need to get more practice. This is that play we were talking about before where my...
Tramples exist.
Yeah, he just rolls right over both of those mines to try to trample them to death.
It really didn't look like you rolled over them. Looks like you just activated your jump jets.
Well, because I wasn't going to smash the models in the thin plastic flying bases.
It's a Ferox.
Yeah.
That would be great. You could turn those wheels like facing down, so you could actually have like a hover,
like at the end of Back to the Future. It just takes off.
But even better if you could put it really far up, and those oxen in the front would just be hanging down.
Bison, where
Or
we're
the bison.
going, we don't need bison.
Now, here's an interesting thing that actually came up, too, is read the way that trampling hooves works for the War Wagon. Because I just trampled, and obviously gun platform will let me use my guns, but the wording on trampling hooves says, on an activation when it does not make a charge attack using this weapon, I can make a melee attack.
Yep. Which is so counterintuitive. So I end up asking for that card like 4 times, but I mean, it's right there in the name of the weapon. I mean, it's called Trampling Hooves. It's almost like it's intended to work with a trample, but it's just so weird.
Yeah. So I'm. You can't see it, but I'm making a melee attack on the Arc Node figure there, which it doesn't amount to anything in the end. I don't believe.
Look at my tits.
Spoilers.
Oh yeah, you mean the activation's going on right now? And on the model, you can't really see, so if it was picked up, you
Your
wouldn't know.
boobs are fantastic.
Oh my goodness, I'm rocking those moobs. Criminy. I take this back. I do want you to blur out my shirt. Just for my dignity, not for the this battle report brought to you by Staples. Criminy.
Yeah, Victoria's Secret.
Ow.
For your boobs.
Oh yes. That's fine. I can wear like a sexy bustier next time we do a video battle report. People can enjoy the cleavage.
That'll be fantastic.
No.
So I think he's an underappreciated. I think the battle engines in general don't get used much anymore. And I think
Which kind of surprises me.
They're all decent.
Because,
they're all
it's
decent.
on a list
Some
where
are amazing.
on a list where I'm not including a bomber and I want some AoE control, it's the first model I go to. Because it's actually surprisingly easy to keep safe. I'm using it pretty forward and aggressively here because there's not a lot of reason not to.
Yeah.
But between Ride-by attack and a range 10 AoE that you don't really care if it hits or not, you can roll up 4 inches, lob the AoE and back up another 3, puts you about 12, 13 inches away.
Yeah.
And most units can't run that. And anything that runs to engage you, you pull trample shenanigans on or you just unload the AoE in their face.
Yeah, and then you got the scattergunner spray and the knockdown melee attack. Or is yours? Your
yeah.
melee is knockdown.
Yes.
Okay.
All day, every day.
Yeah.
The
Kador one is also, or am I just mixing up?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
It doesn't have
the
spray,
Kador one,
though.
because it's laying difficult terrain, usually isn't played as forward as the Battle Wagon
Yeah,
is.
that's
Yeah.
or at all.
Fair enough.
I just don't see it anymore.
That's a good question. It doesn't seem that bad to me.
It isn't. The other one is the Menoth one is absurdly powerful, and I
Yeah.
don't see that often anymore.
I think it's because it's not a jack and
It's not adjudicator.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
I think the Adjudicator really kind of pushed that one out, but I mean, it is really good.
Yeah, because you boost all your attacks all day long, and then just have a mechanic repair those 4 damage, and it's insane.
Yeah. No, it's really good. Unfortunately, the couple times I've seen it, I've actually exploited it. There was a game I played where Severius was camped, way back behind the thing, and I was able to goad a Lightning Fist Mulg up to it and just tapped it a couple of times and arced lightning into Severius,
Oh, sure.
which zapped him to death.
Yeah.
No, I played the last Mayhem Cup in Iowa, where the Texans took it. I played against somebody who had 2 of those things, and I was playing Pirate Swarm, and it did not go well for me. Those things, so many sprays in the chain, the ashes to ashes rather. Just
Yeah. Well, it doesn't have like a
wrecked my
push and light
day.
things and fire effect too.
It's just it was just murdering the world, and by it I mean they, because there were 2 of the fuckers.
Yeah.
No, they're good.
I mean, there's so many good battle engines out there, but yeah, you just don't see play. There's so many not so great ones.
They are
either
frail
too.
for their points. You spend 9 points on one of those things, and it takes hits like a light jack would.
Depends. Some of them are like armor 19, 20.
Well, they're usually armor 19, but they only carry about 18,
20.
like 18 to 20 boxes, some a bit higher.
But I even find myself like the Convergence battle engine is super, super good. And if you took my Kindle right now and looked at all the lists I've made, I mean, the lists I've made are with everything that's going to be out. I'm not hamstringing myself. None of them have one in it right now, even though I know they should. I know Lou can't with that thing. It's astounding.
It's a really hard
I never
expenditure.
go to it. Yeah.
Yeah, because like even when I'm building my list, and I just said when I don't have a bomber on the list or a good way to deal with infantry swarms like a storm troll, I go for that battle wagon quite a bit, and even then it doesn't make it in all the time.
Yep.
Because like I chop that out, I can put another full unit of guys in.
Right. Yep. Here you are, arcing lightning from my Cypher to the countercharge guy on the hill, and then into your own battle engine.
Yep. Yeah, I wasn't really worried about hurting the battle engine. I was really just trying to take care of some of those nasty little solos.
Actually, that guy on the hill's an attunement servitor, now that I squint at him.
Well, yes, I still didn't like him.
No, he deserves death.
Attunement servitors do the flare, or
Yeah.
they're just a single shot?
They're the flare.
Yeah, the
flare.
single shot flare, but I mean that -2 penalty is all you really need to start causing a lot of problems.
The elimination servitors are the auto point single shot guys. They're not out yet. I have them on order.
Looking at the rules, I don't care for them very much.
What's their rat on them then?
5.
Oh.
Yeah.
But the thing is you have to. A lot of Cyriss's stats assume that you're getting flare onto things. Like, it's amazing. Once you put flare onto things, all of a sudden you have all these rat 7s and mat 7s on the charging things, and it's just built into them. It's kind of like, well, hypothetically, it's like what battle would be with Menoth, except their jacks just have good mat to start in anyway. Yeah. But, I mean, they're eliminated, but they're good. The obvious use for them, of course, is carrier group with backlash, because, then heavies are taking single points, and...
So you take your prime axiom, and you're dragging that jack, and then you have a bunch of stuff in between your two prime axioms, and you take your other prime axiom, you hit that jack, and you drag him to that, but he stops because all the stuff in between, and then you take your 30, what are they called?
Elimination servitors.
Elimination servers, and you shoot that thing with backlash, and then you cast your dice.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Seems kind of, I just protect
That's
against,
about 4 more steps than any process in the game.
It seems like if I protect against the drag, I'm pretty solid-ish.
I just, why would I drag them?
I know.
That just seems way more complicated than just I walk up and shoot your heavies.
No,
lob some flare on it and just shoot it.
I was quoting one of our local meta. I had some wonderful dojoing, and that was his process to kill your caster is by doing a double drag into something else to put backlash on your jack and then shoot it with a bunch of servers.
Somebody on the Muse forums has a signature that says, "Why bother with a cunning plan when a simple one will do?"
Yeah,
and it's a very true statement. Like, I don't need to drag your heavy in. I can just walk the elimination servitor 6 inches and then just shoot it.
Yeah, exactly.
And I mean, there are spots when complex plans are called for, but yes, if you can do it simply, you do it simply first.
Do the most simple plan possible, and if that one's ridiculously complex, okay, but do the most simple one possible.
Yeah.
It's always cool to have that spot where you grab somebody, you throw it, another model drags it into the claws of death and all, but you don't do that unless you have to if you can just kill the guy on the spot he stands.
It's Grissel killing the attunement servitor that I ran there just simply to be in the way. The best thing about the Prime Axion's create servitor ability is just to put a random small base in a charge path.
Yeah, and it's that's one thing that I do really like about Trollbloods is most lists I've got built don't have problems with getting jammed. A lot of lists I have built fight their way out of jams fairly well.
There's a minor earthquake there on the table because the guy behind you hit our table with the force of a car.
Yeah.
That was me.
I kept on glancing over, and I kept on thinking he's just going to topple my camera.
Yeah,
he was getting real cozy over in my space. So
it's off screen. You don't see him just grabbing your ass.
Is that what that was? I wasn't looking back there.
Yeah,
honk honk.
There are places that might be flattering, not in a game store though.
No.
Yeah, man, that zone is looking decent for you over there. You got all those warders.
They are super gummy, and like they're super slow. They hit just hard enough where you have to kind of weigh your options. The big thing that can screw with the warders really badly is not having a way for them to clear out their infantry. They are one of the few units that can get jammed very well on their own.
Sure.
Which is why whenever I'm including them...
They only have one attack? Yeah, so they can't clear their way through like the champs can.
Right. But like in this unit, like they usually hit hard enough to take care of heavies on their own when they're not magnetically held.
Right.
And they... against infantry with this list, what I do is I throw lightning fists on a couple of them and have Grissel give them a second attack. So now each one of those warriors is in theory capable of killing 4 guys.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
Other lists where I've included them in, I have a lot of AoEs. A list I took to the tournament on Saturday had the 2 units of warders, a bomber, and epic Grissel. So if they get jammed, I just throw AoEs into the warders who aren't going to even notice. Or if I'm really worried, I can put the bomber's animus on them.
So there were, I think, there were two things that your list was missing as far as models, and one of them that the Warders suffered from was the Sorcerer, who obviously isn't out yet, but that upkeep removal, like you said, it would be really helpful for him. And the other one, I'm not going to mention yet because it is a huge thing that is what the end of the game results on. But it's something that your next list had, and so you beat me in the rematch specifically because of having that in it.
Yeah, like in an actual tournament setup, if I would have seen a list like this, I don't think that no matter what my two lists were, this particular one would not have hit the table.
Sure,
it's just there's just too much good concentrated firepower for this list to be viable.
Viable.
Fine, viable. But grammar aside, yes, like the matchup is just not good. When I see a lot of jacks, I don't want to field my hefty Trollblood pricey infantry. I want to field the fodder that they can't get rid of.
Really? Because if you had the upkeep removal, don't your champs and your warders just take out a heavy each every turn?
They can, but if there's a lot of heavies, those heavies will very quickly remove units that I want 2 to 3 turns to get removed.
Gotcha. You'd rather my heavies take the entire game killing Creel Warriors.
Yeah. I would much rather lose 5 Creel Warriors over 3 turns, or 2 turns even, than I would lose 1 or 2, warders over the same time.
Yeah.
Warders are at least easier to get into combat, though. I've always seemed to have troubles getting champions lined up properly to get enough in to be able to kill something.
That speed 5 can be a real downer. One of the things I've discovered with getting the champions to work well is you give them other alternatives. Like, that's one of the reasons the Night Troll is in this list, is because he is a sacrificial lamb against a big unit of infantry. I will hoof at him, turn on his Amos, charge some infantry, and then roll the Night Troll up even further to basically shove him into the enemy unit. Yes, they're going to murder the snot out of that Night Troll, but it gives my champions that one turn to creep up onto the unit.
Sure.
Which obviously doesn't work on jacks. But it can also work. The same trick can also work against a handful of lights or a particularly dangerous heavy you don't want in the Trollbloods.
Yeah, and it'll work against hordes more than, because then it'll work on their beasts.
And he's still new. The internet hates the Night Troll right now, and while he's not fantastic, I don't think he's quite deserving of all the hate he's getting. He's a 4-point beast. You can't expect a miracle worker. He just has a glaring problem against non-living models.
True. I think the Swamp Troll's 4 points, right?
Right.
I love the Swamp Troll.
No, the Swamp Troll's fantastic, which for some reason the internet seems to hate the Swamp Troll,
the
too.
The internet's dumb.
Okay.
The internet's just plain dumb.
For all you folks on the internet listening to this, you're an exception. Or you've just been educated. Take your pick.
Yeah, Swampy's great. I
have done so many horrible things with Swamp Trolls.
His Animus is amazing. The
drag.
Yeah.
I have killed so many casters with Grim just snare gunning something down, a Swamp Troll dragging it in, and a Mauler walking up like, oh, what's this here?
Andy had a great moment against me with drag that I'll let him go into.
Mention.
Yeah, I know you were. I could hear the cackling, so knock yourself out.
Nathan was playing Drake McBain. I was playing, who cares what caster, but...
you were playing a Swamp Troll.
Yeah, I was playing a Swamp Troll. He ran Elixia under McBain's feet directly in next to my caster. So I was being stuck with Lamentation. I couldn't cast anything. I think I had... Yeah, I was a 5-cost caster, so I couldn't cast any of my spells. Yeah. And then Nathan saw me and said, I'm going to aim, and I'm going to boost a hit.
And I just go, oh, no.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I did not swallow her whole. But that would have been
the sheer panic. I was like, oh, God, no!
Oh, no, I'm playing Marshall, I did that once. He had a stinger in melee, and I aimed, shot, and ate the stinger. And he was like, oh.
She's under McBain's feet. She's invincible, right? And then she's like, activate Swamp Troll. Uh-huh. Aim. Uh-huh. Boost a hit. Oh, God. Because it was at that moment that I remembered Crit Consume.
Oh, yeah, Crit Consume is fantastic. I've eaten, because it doesn't specify living in Crit Consume. I've eaten Circle stones, the standing stones. I've eaten one of those out of the trilogy, and they're like, oh.
He'll eat anything. He's a frog.
Yeah. God, actually, you know what? A troll heavy swamp would be kind of neat.
Oh, that would be so good.
So
I would love that.
Animus is good, too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, no, the Swamp Troll is really good. I especially whenever I'm playing Calandra, I have a hard time not putting a Swamp Troll on that list.
I loved bringing him in my Grissel 1 theme force. I had one because she's only allowed lights, and I liked him a lot for the defensive measure. But I always brought him with Borka when I played Trolls because Borka with Swamp Troll Animus, Under the Stone, Iron Flash, and Drunk. He's like defense 30, armor 50, no knockdown with transfers. He's just unkillable. Just literally unkillable.
And there's even other shenanigans. You use Mosh Pit, knock down something way upfield, Swamp Troll rolls up, hits it, drags it in, and the rest of your army picks up the piece.
Right.
So, I mean, it's a better model than people give credit. And I mean, it's got Pathfinder lurking on it too,
and it's cheap. It's 4 points.
Yeah, no, it's a really good 4-point beast.
He's very pillow fisted, but that's what you're going to get with the lights. Yeah.
And honestly, if you do have a Mauler or another beast in there, power 14s or 15s aren't shabby.
So anyway, moved my reflex guy around there. It's important with reflex servitors, and I guess if you're a Crix player and you brought Scrap Thralls for anything other than Gorshade 2's feet with them as well, before you attack, move around so that if you miss your target, because remember, if you hit, the AoE is centered on your target, but if you miss, it's centered on the servitor / Scrap Thrall. So there, I took my servitor and I rotated him around to the other side of your base, specifically so that if I missed, which I did, the AoE would hit 3 of your guys instead of 2.
Yep.
It didn't kill any of them, but
that's Trollblood resilience on you right there.
But it's still a good habit.
Yes. I'm not going to argue that point in the least. I think a lot of this turn was you just planning on how you were going to obliterate the rest of my army.
This turn has 2 words, and it's feat synergy.
Yeah,
because I have a plan. And that plan is that the Primaxium can drag 2 things, and there's 2 jacks in front of it. So if I can get like a +4 or +5 synergy chain, you can kill two heavies on feat turn with some decent. You'll definitely kill a heavy and a light, but hypothetically, you can kill 2 heavies with that Primaxium if he's at +5 or 6 on feat turn, because he gets not only the 2 drags, which do a point apiece, whatever, but he gets the 3 Excella Spikers, which remember I've got Hot Shot on him, so they're doing decent damage, and then he ends up with 7 punches.
Yeah.
1 each from the 2 drags, plus his 2 initials, plus 3 purchases, and they're all like POW 25.
Yeah. No, the thing is a mechanism of destruction, which is, like I said, when I see that many heavies, this is why I always want a swarm of infantry guys, because that same effect killing, you may kill 8 Krell Warriors with them, but,
Right.
It was 8 Krell Warriors and not Mauler or a Mulg or my Caster.
Yeah, yesterday there was a game the dice were not going with me, so I was on the losing end, so I decided, fuck it, and I did the feat turn synergy chain, and my 2 drags were the 2 War Arguses for Butcher. I just dragged in both of his dogs and punched their faces in. It's like, fuck you, I'll give you vengeance, I don't care, these dogs are dying.
Well, those dogs aren't exactly slouches either. They can do some mean stuff.
Yeah. But not when they're dead.
Well, no, that's a problem for most things. Exceptions noted for most of the Crix army.
Yes.
So you are the villain then?
Yeah, I killed his dogs. And then he got his revenge. He vengeanced up 3 inches and then charged my Primaxium and 1-rounded it with Butcher.
Not really a surprise. He's got unreal stats.
He had defeat.
Yeah.
Barely. He almost didn't.
Well, I mean, every time I look at him, it's like he's like POW 15 with Weapon Master, and almost always has some spell to make him better.
Yeah, he hurts. That's what he does is he hurts.
Every time I see the Butcher, I always have to try to think, all right, so how, because you actually account for him specifically. Well, I can't put a Jack up there because he'll kill that. I can't put too many infantry up there because he'll still be able to kill all those.
Right.
Your best bet in most cases is try to slow him down.
Let's hear is you're doing some shooting.
Because I feeded with Syntherion, so it's all about the Galvanizer went up there, hit a guy. Now the Cypher's hitting a guy. And it's all changing that focus back. The Galvanizer uses his focus to boost a hit. The Cypher, he's getting his guns, which I'm just going to throw out random doesn't matters. I think that's a flare for no reason or something.
Well, yeah, because that Power 6 Blast is not going to...
Right.
Not even going to remotely bother them.
Yeah, and enjoy a flare for no reason.
That was difficult terrain.
Rough terrain.
Had to slow down my Storm Troll.
Buy a second attack just to get the focus over. Because at this point, it's all about just throwing... Every Jack over there just wants to charge a random thing. Was this one flare, or was this one...
I don't know, because it was shooting over on the side of the board and working on the models that were just slowly dying. So
it should be a flare so that diffuser that's behind him, when I charge to get the synergy bonus, because I'm going to have him charge that front warder. Yeah, it was a flare.
Yeah.
Oh, no, it wasn't. God, I'm dumb. That should have been a flare. Whatever. I mean, at this point, I'm at like 8.
Oh, no, I think those were flares. I was just wondering why you were laying down the rings.
Oh, that might be true.
Yeah.
But yeah, so if those should be flares, because then the diffuser's gonna, yes, and then away they go because, nah.
Because Nate dumb.
Well, they're 4-inch AoEs. I have the rings there for a reason. Shut up. And now the diffuser's going to go ahead and charge for free from the feet, which I forgot all the time. It's something I hadn't noticed, but it's kind of a duh thing. But it just, this game was the first time I noticed it, is his feet isn't warjacks. His feet is battle group members. So Syntherion himself is a weapon platform on his feet turn.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a gun. It's nothing like to write home about, but
Range
it's still
11,
a gun.
POW 11.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a sub hand cannon,
Yeah.
but it's not too shabby.
It's better than not having a gun.
Yeah, and he's got 2 POW 14 weapons. Like
Yeah.
he can.
That
get
still
some
stops
melee
me every
done.
time I look at it is 2 POW 14s.
Yeah,
Of the Cyriss casters, Syntherion is actually my favorite. I like the way he works and operates.
given that he's 13, 18 with 20 boxes, and if you camp, and he's self-repairing, he's fairly durable. So you could play a midline / frontline and have him activate last on a synergy chain turn, and have him be like 2 initial attacks at like POW 20, and just charge him into something and buy 6 more attacks. Like he could wreck something's day at the end of a synergy chain. I've never had the balls to do it.
Well, because is he speed 5 or 6?
He is speed 5.
Yeah, and with no reach on those, so you have to be real careful.
With the diffuser and hypothetically magnetic hold. Magnetic hold, you'd have to plan ahead, but it is an upkeep. But with the diffuser, at least, he becomes a speed 7. So he's got 10.5-inch threat range if you tag something with the Hunter's Mark.
Yeah.
But yes, I mean, it would not be something to plan for, but it's definitely something that can be done.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, ending with him.
And any of those casters that are even remotely melee capable, you need to keep into consideration. Back in Mark 1, when Prime Doomshaper had powerful attack, I killed so many people by surprise because I just saw that old troll sitting in the back, like, and I'm going to roll up and smack the hell out of you.
Yeah. And was it Doomshaper 2 had the his strength was increased by the fury he still had on him?
Oh, no, I'm sorry. That was the first Doomshaper.
That was first
Prime.
Doomshaper,
The second one had the one where if you bonk a beast, you get control of it for a round or something like that. But still, like, when you got a Sub-Fury caster, you charge up there, your first swing's power 20?
Yeah.
That's a hell of a hit from an old man. Oh. Yeah, so this is
the unseen mitigator moved up to attack a champion, and you countercharge with Scaldy.
Yep.
Which, I knew it was going to happen, but I figured the mitigator was unlikely to die, although that is 6554.
Oh, no, that wasn't the mitigator. That was the monitor.
Or the monitor, sorry.
Yep. Yeah, and I think I smashed the hell out of its gun with that. Because that was I think Scaldy was raged that turn as well.
Possible. But it was worth it. Like, I don't care. You could smash half that jack. I just want one more Matt and Pow on the synergy chain.
Yeah. But, I mean, Scaldy wasn't going to be doing anything else, so. Yeah, every time I look back, it's like I just should not have fielded this list against that many big jacks. Like, oh,
yeah,
just so bad.
But yeah, no, it's the quintessential example of when it's right to put the hot shot on the Prime Axiom instead of the Cypher. Because your Earthborn actually took a decent chunk of damage, or not Earthborn. That was in the rematch.
Yeah,
the rematch I do the same thing, and you had an Earthborn instead of the Mauler, and the Prime Axiom with Hot Shot did like 20 damage to that thing over the course of a couple turns. Like it'll whittle them down.
And I mean that was really good too because that particular game you'd forgotten about how the whelp interaction works with drag,
which is that was model 2 that you don't have in this list is whelps because
whelps are surprisingly hard to fit in and they don't work well on every list.
Right.
Like it's nice to go like yes I can stop a drag, but that's not a good enough reason to put a 2-point model into every list just for that.
So basically Prime Axiom would hit the beast.
Yeah.
The beast would then pop out a whelp.
Because you take the damage before the drag, so the damage triggers the whelp.
Damage triggers the whelp, then just placed right in front of the beast, not dragged.
Correct. Yep. Which I forgot about that in the rematch, so I went to Dragon as Earthborn. I built up this massive synergy chain. I shoot the Earthborn, and a whelp pops out, and I just go, aww.
Yeah, I could kind of see the look in your face go from like, yeah, I got this to planning is gone.
Badness.
Well, it's a good thing you got another gun.
Well, then I just shot the Earthborn 6 times with Acela Spikers because fuck that guy.
Yeah, and I mean, you blew it to hell. It was down to about a third of its health. It was missing an aspect at the start of my turn.
But it wasn't dead, and that's a big difference.
Right. Yeah, that is a problem.
Yeah. But yeah, so you did not have whelps in this list, so
No.
I was able to. I mean, at this point, the synergy chain is up to +6, I believe, and
Yeah, like whelps are neat. I only ever really use them in lists that are primarily ranged beasts, and for other corner case circumstance, like they're in that Jarl list because they actually synergize really well with his feat. Everyone complains that Jarl's feat doesn't work against Legion. Oh no, it works really well against Legion, because you drop those clouds with that -2 penalty to living beasts in front of your guys. Their beasts roll into them, they got a penalty to attack. They injure your heavy, you drop a whelp up, they've got a -3 penalty to their attack roll, and suddenly your beast is really hard to hit.
yeah, because you're functionally like defense 15.
Right.
Yeah.
And I mean, that particular list doesn't have a boost in armor to 20 or anything like that, but they still, when you have to spend your boosting on attacks...
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, you have a finite number of boosts out there. And when each bought and boost attack is 2 fury instead of just buying for 1, I mean, you're cutting the number of attacks in half. And surprise math, that means you're taking a lot less damage.
Yep. I don't think I've seen you make a single tough roll.
He did.
No, there are a couple tough rolls in here.
It was the second champion that I one-shotted.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I was going to say, I'm just watching just 3s and 4s being rolled for all your tough rolls.
Tough is nice. I never really forget about it, but you never, ever want to build a plan around tough working for anything.
Also, I made him put it back because I am finding myself continuously having to explain how auto fire works against people, because you don't make the tough checks until after I have rolled all the to hit and all the damage rolls, so I don't get to know if that guy's going to die before I allocate attacks to other people. So I made him put that scribe back.
It's also because I think it's for strafing fire though, that because you have to work off of that first model hit.
You do, yeah, as well. I mean, we knew the targets were there, but it's just a matter of that tough check shouldn't have happened, because it's roll, hit, roll damage, declare the next target, roll, hit, roll damage, declare the next target, roll, hit, roll damage, and then any tough checks and resolves all happen at the end there. So this time he ended up toughing because I made him take it back.
Yeah, it pretty irrelevant in the long run.
Well, sure, yeah, but I just keep literally every game yesterday that I played the Primaxium, the same thing happened. Like people were doing that. I'm like, no, wait.
I mean, it's a brand new rule, and it's one of the first times you've got multiple attack and damage rolls from something that's not like an AoE.
Strafe's the exact same way. It's just that people have played it wrong for years.
Yep,
that's fair.
Same thing. Backswing is the exact same way as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I remember backswing because I always strike so much debate because of things like the Great Bears, who it was discovered that will start murdering themselves if you kill on the first attack.
Yeah, no, it's backswing, cleave, yes, backswing, no. One of those you make a second attack afterwards.
Cleave
one
only works if you kill something and you can make a second attack. It's a toned down berserk where you can opt not to.
Honestly,
backswing forces 2 attacks.
Backswing should technically be just like a cleave. It would just be simpler.
I think backswing it is, because it isn't. Well, I'd have to double check backswing. I don't think backswing is simultaneous.
It's not simultaneous, but you have to declare backswing, and if you do, you have to take both your attacks.
No, my point is, I think if backswing, if you kill your target, you do indeed have to declare a different target, because I don't think it's simultaneous like strafe.
You are
is.
right.
Because so it's the opposite. So like people are playing strafe like backswing, but it's not.
Yeah, okay, that's fair.
Because backswing, you don't like hit damage, and then resolve both. You hit damage, resolve, and then because you declared that you're going to do a second attack, you're forced to, which is the double-edged sword of it.
Which I think you have to declare the target before you throw both backswings.
Yeah. No, that's my point, is that backswing's not simultaneous, so they're sequential. If I'm remembering correctly, which I might not be. Well,
and just to explain me throwing down dice over here, the Mauler had Hallowed Avenger on it. He killed the Night Troll, so I opted to charge the Primaxium, who's just going to drag him in anyways.
Anyway, yeah.
It was just me being vindictive.
Right.
Hollow Adventure, you have to go towards the closest enemy model.
It's a free charge.
No, it's a free charge, anything you want.
Free charge?
Yep. So, like, if you the trigger is it has to kill a friendly faction model within 6 inches of the model with Hallowed Avenger. So that's what I said. That's one of the shenanigans that this list is, in theory, supposed to be capable of with that Night Troll. Is something kills something of the troll and it charges anywhere hell it wants.
could you have repositioned your troll to have charged
I could have.
closer to the wall so you couldn't be dragged?
I don't
think
have
I
a
was
legal
too
charge target over there.
Right. Like that was like I could have maybe decided to charge towards one of the guys, but I would have hit the wall on an angle where the Axiom would have still dragged me.
Right, like if that monitor
you're
was
right,
like
you're
5
right.
inches further forward, but there wasn't a legal charge path that would clip behind the wall. But you're right that is something that hypothetically could have been done.
Yeah.
I
And
like
that
to
would have
think
made me
against
sad.
the drag.
Yeah, and there are lots of things you can do to help prevent the drag. I mean, like it's an easy early mistake too, just to go like, oh, well, drag's just going to kill something and be done with it, so it's overpowered. Like, no, you can make him work for it at the very least.
Yeah, so backswing I looked up is very much not simultaneous because the way the backswing works is make a normal attack with this weapon. After resolving the attack, make an additional attack with the weapon. So it is mandatory, but it is you fully resolve. So
This is the new or the newer errata for it.
Mark
the
one
previous
backswing.
version.
Mark one backswing was weird.
It was actually before.
It was pre-errata?
Yeah,
Is this an
there-
errata? I guess
there's-
I'm looking in War Room, so I don't know what's errata and what's
That's
not.
that's the new version of it that clarifies it, that made it so much easier to deal with.
Yeah.
The previous one you had to I believe you had to declare both targets of the backswing. Now I'm explaining a rule that's obsolete, so I'll shut up.
Okay.
So we're done.
Yep. After his beasts were both dead, then Jeff declared it pointless to continue.
Yeah.
He cried. It was embarrassing.
Yeah, there's open tears, but you know,
I demanded his women as tribute. All kinds of stuff.
he was really disappointed after he got the tribute.
Yeah. It was a real doll.
No. Those are
It
expensive.
was most of a real doll.
Yeah, it was aftermarket. No, but it's real doll REEL. He got it like bootleg from a guy in Times Square. He's like, "Hey man, you want a real doll? $5."
No.
It's like when you get a Polex.
I'm sure this is probably a good time to end it. All right. So thank you guys for watching our wonderful video podcast for our Battle Report 10. This is Andy. I'm signing out.
It's Nathan.
And it's Troll Jeff.
Yay.
Bye.